Explore the survival of three animals: mammoth, hyena, rattlesnake. Here is the final copy you can read aloud directly. Imagine a world cloaked in ice, a world where giants roamed and fearsome predators lurked in the shadows. Now, what if I told you that some of these ancient survivors are still among us, while others, seemingly invincible, vanished without a trace? In the next few moments, we're going to unravel an epic tale of survival, a story that connects the mighty woolly mammoth, the cunning cave hyena, and the resilient rattlesnake. Prepare to have your mind blown as we explore how some creatures defied extinction while others succumbed to the unforgiving forces of nature. Why did one survive while the others perished? The answer is more shocking than you think. Let's begin our journey back in time to the heart of the Pleistocene epoch, an era more commonly known as the Ice Age. This was a time of dramatic climate shifts, of vast glaciers advancing and retreating, shaping the very face of our planet. In this challenging world, a menagerie of magnificent and terrifying creatures evolved and thrived. Among them, three stand out for our story: the colossal woolly mammoth, the formidable cave hyena, and the ancient rattlesnake. Each was a master of its environment, a testament to the power of adaptation. The mammoth, a furry behemoth, was an icon of the frozen tundra, its massive tusks and thick coat a perfect design for a frigid world. The cave hyena, larger and more powerful than its modern African cousin, was an apex predator, its bone-crushing jaws echoing through the caves of Eurasia. And the rattlesnake, with its ancient lineage, had already been perfecting its survival strategy for millions of years, a silent hunter waiting in the undergrowth. These three animals, though living in different parts of the world and occupying different ecological niches, faced the same ultimate test: a rapidly changing climate. As the last glacial period came to an end around 11,700 years ago, the world began to warm. The great ice sheets melted, sea levels rose, and the vast grassy steppes that sustained so many large herbivores began to shrink, replaced by dense forests and wetlands. This was the backdrop for a mass extinction event, the Quaternary extinction, which wiped out a significant portion of the world's megafauna. Our three contenders stood at this critical crossroads. Two would fall, becoming fossils and legends. One would endure, slithering its way into the modern world. By examining their fates, we can piece together the complex puzzle of survival and extinction, a puzzle whose pieces include climate change, habitat loss, human pressure, and the incredible resilience of life itself. The story of their divergence is not just a tale of the past. It's a profound lesson about the fragility and tenacity of life on Earth. Let's first turn our attention to the undisputed king of the Ice Age, the woolly mammoth. Picture an animal standing up to 11 feet tall at the shoulder and weighing over 6 tons. Its body was a fortress against the cold. Covered in a thick undercoat of fine wool and a layer of long, coarse guard hairs, some reaching over 3 feet in length. Beneath its skin, a layer of fat up to 4 inches thick provided further insulation. Even its ears and tail were smaller than those of modern elephants, a clever adaptation to minimize heat loss in the biting winds of the mammoth steppe. These giants were herbivores, using their enormous curved tusks, which could grow up to 16 feet long, not just for defense against predators like saber-toothed cats and cave hyenas, but also to sweep away snow and dig for frozen grasses, sedges, and shrubs. They were social animals, living in herds led by a matriarch, much like modern elephants, traversing vast landscapes in search of sustenance. For thousands of years, the woolly mammoth was a resounding success story. Their populations stretched across the northern hemisphere, from Spain to Siberia and into North America. They were a keystone species, their grazing habits maintaining the grassy steppe ecosystem that supported a diverse range of other animals. However, their very specialization for a cold, dry world would ultimately become their undoing. As the planet warmed at the end of the Pleistocene, their world literally melted away. The vast open grasslands, their primary food source, were replaced by sprawling forests and boggy tundra. For an animal adapted to grazing on dry grasses, this new, wetter landscape with different vegetation was a disaster. Their food supply dwindled, forcing them into smaller and more fragmented pockets of suitable habitat. This environmental pressure was compounded by the arrival of a new, highly intelligent predator: modern humans. Our ancestors, armed with sophisticated tools and cooperative hunting strategies, saw the mammoth as a walking larder. Spear points have been found embedded in mammoth bones, and archaeological sites reveal extensive evidence of mammoth butchery. For a species already struggling with a changing environment and shrinking food sources, this added pressure from human hunters was likely the final, decisive blow. The combination of climate change-induced habitat loss and human predation created a perfect storm of extinction. The last mainland populations died out around 10,000 years ago, with a tiny, isolated group on Wrangel Island in the Arctic Ocean holding on until about 4,000 years ago. The mighty mammoth, an icon of resilience, had finally succumbed, leaving behind only bones, frozen carcasses, and a powerful legacy in the story of life on Earth. Now, let's shift our focus to another formidable resident of the Ice Age: the cave hyena. Far from being a mere scavenger, this was a powerful and successful predator, about 25% larger than the modern spotted hyena. It possessed an incredibly powerful build and one of the strongest bites in the animal kingdom, capable of crushing the bones of even the largest prey to get at the nutritious marrow inside. They were highly social hunters, operating in large clans to take down impressive prey, including wild horses, bison, and even young mammoths and woolly rhinos. They were the dominant carnivores in many parts of Pleistocene Eurasia. Their dens often found deep within caves, littered with the skeletal remains of their victims. These bone assemblages have provided paleontologists with an invaluable window into the Ice Age ecosystem. The cave hyena was a highly adaptable and intelligent creature, a true survivor. So why did it disappear? Much like the mammoth, its fate was inextricably linked to the dramatic environmental shifts at the end of the Pleistocene. The cave hyena's primary prey consisted of the large herbivores that populated the cold, open steppe tundra. As the climate warmed and forests expanded, this megafauna either went extinct, like the woolly rhino, or saw their populations decline and shift northward, like reindeer and bison. The hyena's pantry was effectively emptying. Their hunting grounds, the open plains, were disappearing, replaced by dense woodlands that did not favor their pack hunting strategies. Competition and human influence also played a significant role. As the hyena's traditional food sources became scarce, they would have faced increased competition from other large predators that were better adapted to forested environments, such as wolves and bears. Furthermore, there was the ever-present pressure from humans. Early humans and cave hyenas were direct competitors, often occupying the same caves and hunting the same prey. As human populations grew and their hunting technologies advanced, they would have outcompeted the hyenas for both resources and territory. Evidence suggests that humans may have actively hunted hyenas or driven them away from kill sites and shelters. Trapped between a collapsing food web, a changing landscape, and an increasingly dominant human presence, the cave hyena's reign came to an end. It vanished from the fossil record around the same time as many of its prey species, another casualty of the great end Pleistocene extinction. This brings us to our sole survivor, the rattlesnake. While mammoths and cave hyenas battled for supremacy on the frozen plains, the ancestors of modern rattlesnakes were playing a completely different game. The rattlesnake lineage is ancient, stretching back millions of years, long before the Ice Age began. They are a product of a warmer, more stable world, and their survival strategy is a masterpiece of efficiency and patience. Unlike the warm-blooded megafauna, rattlesnakes are ectothermic or cold-blooded. This is a crucial distinction. A mammoth needed to consume vast quantities of vegetation every single day just to maintain its body temperature and fuel its massive frame. A cave hyena needed regular, large meals to power its predatory lifestyle. A rattlesnake, on the other hand, has a much slower metabolism. It can survive on a single, small mellow mouse, a squirrel, a bird for weeks or even months. This incredible energy efficiency makes it far less vulnerable to fluctuations in the food supply. Furthermore, the rattlesnake is a habitat generalist. While mammoths were tied to the steppe and hyenas to the open plains and their large prey, rattlesnakes can thrive in a wide variety of environments, from arid deserts and rocky hillsides to grasslands and forests. As the climate warmed and forests replaced the mammoth steppe, this was not a disaster for the rattlesnake. It was simply a change of scenery. Their prey, small mammals, birds, and lizards did not go extinct. In fact, many of these smaller creatures thrived in the new, warmer world. So, while the megafauna's food web was collapsing, the rattlesnake's food supply remained stable or even expanded. Their hunting strategy, ambush predation, is also highly efficient. They don't expend energy on long chases. They simply find a promising spot, lie in wait, and strike with lightning speed when prey comes within range. Their venom does the rest of the work, dispatching the prey quickly and beginning the process of digestion even before the meal is swallowed. Finally, consider their relationship with humans. While early humans hunted mammoths for food and competed with hyenas for resources, rattlesnakes were largely left alone. They were not a primary food source, and their small size and cryptic nature meant they were not a direct competitor. While a bite could be dangerous, they were an avoidable threat. Not an obstacle to human expansion in the same way a clan of cave hyenas might have been. By being small, energy efficient, adaptable, and flying under the radar of human pressure, the rattlesnake navigated the end of the Ice Age with remarkable success. It watched the giants fall, not because it was stronger, but because its entire way of life was better suited to a world of change. The rattlesnake didn't just survive the extinction event. It thrived in the world that came after, a silent, slithering testament to the fact that in the game of evolution, sometimes the most successful strategy is not to be the biggest or the strongest, but the most adaptable. The story of the mammoth, the hyena, and the rattlesnake is a powerful reminder that specialization can be a double-edged sword, and that, in the face of profound environmental change, the meek can, and often do, inherit the earth.